So your mom moved here as an immigrant,
Mhm.
and she totally changed to take care of anything. And she's like a business owner. And it didn't bother her language, culture, whatever. She just went out and took care of things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. It seems like maybe would there be a connection like right now? You're working really hard.
After her passing, I realized and see clearly that her support, her love, and her acceptance of my transitioning not impact me only, it's impact me to be able to go on to impact other people.
I guess we talk.
Mm.
And even though you might not think you're going into a trance, or I'm making you go into a trance,
Okay.
you're starting to bring out thought and information that's very profound.
I think it was like, what, 2 years already, 3 years already when we did that session on the show. And that really impacted me a lot. So this show is kind of like a follow-up, sort of, and just kind of catch up with you. So a lot of people, I see a lot of people are very consciously awakening these days, and they are starting to hear this different healing, different trauma healings in our reality right now. So your specialty is hypnosis therapies, right?
Well, yes, I do hypnosis. That was the first mode of
Okay.
practice that I learned. And kind of what we did together was something called
Oh,
conversational
okay.
hypnosis.
I didn't know there's a difference. So you want to kind of share with the audience, like, because I think most of them are still thinking hypnosis is, first of all, it's more like entertaining. It might be more like a magic sort of kind of thing, right? And how do you
Right.
explain to people this can be like a healing process in a way? Yeah.
Sure. Well, it's kind of like this. And first I'll say what I do, and then we'll
Sure.
talk about hypnosis.
Of course.
I'm a life coach. Hypnosis is one of the modes of practice that I do. I do, energetics works like Reiki and other energetic systems as well. It's called somatic coaching, which is working with the body,
Okay.
because our body stores information and emotions and all kinds of things. And then I integrate this together in a comprehensive system. In terms of hypnosis, yes, most have the impression of hypnosis, which is the stage show.
Mm.
And the stage show being, getting somebody to do something crazy on stage.
Yes.
Be like a nurse. But more appropriately to talk about hypnosis, what we're really talking about is the realm of our unconscious mind.
Okay.
And so little do we know, like our unconscious mind actually drives about 80-90% of our behavior.
Okay.
We don't know it. And then it's almost like the conscious mind is like our observer, our narrator,
Yes.
And so a lot of the beliefs, a lot of the emotions, a lot of the conclusions that we have, they're formed at kind of our imprinting period from the age of 0 to 7 years old.
Yes.
Where it kind of occupies our model of the world. And in a way, that belief system ends up being kind of like our spiritual GPS that just kind of guides us through our life. Yet a lot of times we're on automatic and we don't even know it. So I think a lot of this combination of energy, hypnosis, coaching, a lot of that is to bring forth at some point our beliefs and emotions and all that served us well. Yet as we move on in life, our needs are very different. What we want to do, what we want to accomplish. So actually we have to kind of rewire ourselves. So I think a lot of the healing, yes, trauma is very real. Having negative experiences in your life that actually unconsciously they drive you in certain directions. It could be very simple things or very profound things. So number one, healing this or changing that energetics
Mm-hmm.
in yourself, in your mind, your spirit, and your body, comprehensively approaching that literally changes where you're going. And yes, we're at a time in, on this planet, we're going through huge amounts of
Yes, I can
change.
feel that it's shifting. It's kind of like pulling on two ends in a way. And because you mentioned about we've been programming since childhood, and we have sort of trauma. What do you think about ego identity? Because I've been exposed to this subject a lot as well. Because we kind of carry a character within us, and me and you knows we have probably have a different different layer of character already, and we kind of every time we hit a roadblock or some trauma or setback, then we have to release that identity or release that ego identity to tap into a new character, right? Do you What do you think about this
Yes.
part?
Yeah, well, I think it's a really good observation. Yes. We all
Right.
have identities, and those could be identities that we go through as our
Right.
life goes on. Maybe we have an identity in our 20s, and
Yes.
then maybe in our 30s and 40s, that identity shifts, and then 50 and 60, it changes. Okay? That's one thing. That's just natural aging, right? It comes with living our life. And yes, in this time period on this planet, it's a time period where the ego was kind of the
Yeah.
dominant force. The ego is how we navigated through. So, in the realm of all this, having a very healthy ego was
Mm-hmm.
essential to being in this kind of 3D world that we
Yeah.
lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, actually, we could say we'd use the language of
Mm-hmm.
5D, but it was something more from a deeper sense of soul, a deeper sense of
Mm-hmm.
purpose. And so that, so when you're talking about a shifting of identity, it it's a very comprehensive thing, like we've been talking about, that there are things that need to be let go of.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that need to be confronted, may it be trauma, may it be overcompensation, may it be balancing out in a masculine expression, may it be coming into a deeper spiritual sense. By spiritual sense, I don't necessarily mean religious, but maybe a purposeful sense of ourselves, a purposeful sense of where we are going and where the planet is going. So in a way, when you make this transition of
Mm-hmm.
identity, it's it's a profound act, because in one way you're letting go of the
Right.
old self, the old things that no longer
Mm-hmm.
serve you, the old beliefs, the old caricatures, the old systems. Yeah. And then you're moving into a new self. So in this progression, it can be very strange, because the things that you used to do now have a triggering
Yes.
effect.
I
Because like, I can't be that person anymore. I can't do this anymore. Yet at the same time, where you're going is completely new. So it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do any of this. There's kind of a lack of, there's a newness and an innocence and a learning to it. But then also there's like an insecurity, which is like, I don't know what I'm
yes.
doing. What the
I
heck
think
do I
it's
do?
because what you mentioned earlier is because we've been comfortable program in a certain one way, and we try to merge into another identity or another way. It's not easy, especially when you say age. When you get older, it's harder to adapt in a way. Yeah.
Well, I think it it takes, I don't know the right way. It's like we literally have to change our energy. In a way, it's like changing our resonance, our energy
Mm.
signature. In another way, what we really have to do is, to do that, especially as we get
Hmm.
older, to change that programming, it takes kind of consistency, staying with, dedicating ourselves to that. It takes
Yes.
repetition. Okay. And so in a way, maybe spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever, it's a little bit like going to the gym and working out in a way. You have to work out. If you want to be in shape, you're not going to do that by just doing one 4-hour workout, rather consistently doing consistent workouts every week,
Right.
you know, throughout the year, and then all of a sudden the body's a beautifully informed. Well, it's kind of the same way like this. One has to adapt the lifestyle, which ends up facilitating and supporting, the change that's needed for
Hmm.
kind of you, like your contract, your sole purpose.
Yes, exactly. Another experience that I came about is, like when you start the shifting, you start losing friends. Have you ever encountered that yourself or any other clients that you mentioned, you've seen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. And I think, you know, I mean, there's a whole bunch of, but it's like as
Mm,
you change what's on the inside, as we change on the inside, the outside
yeah.
reflects that change. So we can lose friends and we can gain new friends. We can lose communities and gain new communities, or even all of a sudden the communities that we're in or the friends that we're in, they can act really different based on
Mm,
this internalized change expressed outwardly.
right.
Okay. So I think it is a natural thing sometimes that things that are not where you are going kind of fall by the wayside. And there's a little bit of, I would say there's kind of some grief that can go with
True.
that because it's like, oh my God, I'm losing
Yeah.
something. Yes,
I
yes,
do feel that way.
that's true. Yeah, and so grieving is a very
Hmm.
real thing. It's a very real human experience, and at the same time, we're also going into something that is new.
Yes.
So both are real simultaneously. So yes, definitely. Have I experienced that? Yes,
Right.
and definitely yes. And we can accept that, it's kind of I'm Buddhist as a Buddhist practitioner. If there's one thing consistent in life is
Hmm.
change.
Yeah, so you and I are very somehow very similar. You also believe religion wise, you're Buddhist as well. I'm growing up with this religion, but I wasn't like part practice as much when I was younger. But now, since like I mentioned in the show before, since after my mom passed, then somehow it just came to me in a way, and I kind of realize everything, any religion, not just Buddhists, some Christians, even the story or the writing in the Bible is reflecting to what we're talking about here. It's they just use a different language or different wording, but they're talking about the same thing: the healings, the ego death, the identity, and then the inner self is reflecting the outer self. Have you encountered that at all?
Yes. And I think, it's like you're asking these questions that are true, and that's what makes me laugh a little bit. Um, yeah, at the same time, I think it's, as we change, like, okay, I've been a Buddhist practitioner
Mhm.
for a long time, even the way I would approach, quote unquote, my religion, my spirituality
Yes.
changes. My point of view
Mm.
with it changes. The way I actually do it changes. And and so also what would there be spiritual truths in all quote unquote
Mhm.
religions? Well, yes, absolutely. And I think there's something about, religious
Mhm.
text itself, to me, where it's kind of like
Um,
holographic. Like you have a
right.
teaching or an inspiration or an encouragement that's so profound for you at one age
Yes.
or one point in your life. And you can go back to that same teaching, that same learning, or whatever it may
Hmm.
be. And now it's going to reflect where you are now. Though it's the same
Yeah.
words, it's inspiration, it's wisdom, or whatever it's going to put you in contact with, it's going to be totally different. So in a way, my spiritual practice feels different because, I've
Yes,
changed
you
a
did.
lot. And I think that one of the bigger things that, especially lately, what I've gone through is my own thought or definition of
Mm.
leadership. What is leader? In maybe in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, leadership
Right.
meant one thing
Yes.
to me, which is a very more formalistic, almost hierarchical idea
Mm-hmm.
of leadership. But to me now, leadership is something very different. Leadership to me is
Mm-hmm.
embodiment. It's your true self,
Mm-hmm.
your pure self that you can be,
Yes.
and leading and living your life in that manner. And the leadership is that environment around you that is attracted to that.
Yes. And just go back a little bit on the religion. I recently also find out Jesus. His teaching is actually influenced. He travels around the world, and especially the East Asia. He been to Tibet. He been to India. He been to all kinds of Buddhist countries at the time. So,
Mhm.
like you said, the context, I think, over time, or I'm not sure if it's intentional, but over time, they changed the meaning or his teaching in a different way. So, that's why, I feel that's why our society is a little bit messed up right now, and because the belief and a lot of like right now 2025, a lot of things are just coming on the surface, like maybe UFO sightings and all that, and all our AI is also bringing to our reality, to telling us this is not true and this is true, and all the beliefs that we grow up with, like you say, 80s, 90s, it's totally different now, right? And go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, so what
No,
I'm
no,
trying to
please continue.
ask you right now is, on your client base, like when there's a potential client or whoever is watching this show, they want to reach out to you to seek out some answers. And like, for example, let's use business owner first. If a small business owner or business owner wants to feeling stuck, and they want to get out of the stuckness, like what kind of foundation or what kind of advice you can give them in a way, because
Oh,
just giving one quick example, because myself, I'm a business owner. We both take a lot of different courses, online courses or strategy, but I realize something like some people can do very well and some people cannot, but they're going through the same course, the same business strategy, right? So if a business
yeah.
owner feeling stuck, what can you give them advice?
Wow. Okay,
I know a
there's so
lot.
many ways to approach this. I think really, at a most straightforward level is what do they
Hmm.
want to do? What is working? What's
Right.
not working? And understanding them and how they go about doing the things that
Yes.
they do in the business, and getting that person to a place of high
Okay.
resourcefulness, or that what may be being very resourceful for me may not be that for yourself,
Right.
or the other way around. So, because we're all unique people, we all have unique purpose, we all have unique
Mm,
ways of how we're designed to be, how that
mm-hmm.
functions. So some people might be made out to be like, for example, an
Mm-hmm.
influencer, and their makeup, their kind of spiritual DNA is made up to be that type of person. So one of the things that I work a lot with people and clientele is really working hard to find that
Okay.
alignment
Sure.
for the person, because we're all kind of designed with a certain makeup. Second, to help the person, I'm going to use this word, it's a big word, it's kind of like, I'll use the word deconditioning. Like we're raised a certain way, we're raised with certain backgrounds, certain families, certain traditions, so forth and so on. It may be those things actually don't apply to who we are and what our
Mm-hmm.
makeup is.
Okay.
Okay. So a lot of what I do will like be taking that away and bringing in how we're
Mm-hmm.
really meant to be. Like, for example, some people are made to speak.
Yes.
Okay. Some people are really gifted at selling. Some people are really gifted at doing systems. Some people are really gifted at the deep spiritual intuitive side. Okay. these are all gifts and inclinations. But, for example, say maybe you're gifted to share spiritual insight with people, or somebody, be, from whatever
Mm-hmm.
realm that may be. Those things could be things that may have been conditioned out of them because maybe prior that's not viewed as something positive.
Mm.
That's maybe viewed as witchcraft, evil, or
Yes.
something.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Where it's, actually, that's good, and that's something that they're meant to do. So part of coaching is actually helping people embody that, come into contact with it, reveal that, and then bring into play all the things that lets that
Okay.
shine. So for business, different people, different people have different makeups, and it's letting all those things align for the person and the client so they can truly go about this that really serves the person that they are and kind of the deep vibration that they are.
Okay. That makes sense.
Am I right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes,
Am I answering
totally.
your question?
Yeah, because just it's more like a deeper level, like you mentioned, and for the courses or the books, everybody when they read it, they experience differently. And I think, like you mentioned, it's more individual. And if we put it in a spiritual level, it's more like a soul contract, like you mentioned earlier. So it's different. Everybody is different, unique, and they have their own purpose here. And the next question I want to ask you is relationship, like romantic relationship. I know a lot of like maybe people who are divorcing or having trouble with their relationship, they might go seek their the psychology or relationship therapist. So so if a couple or married couple have a problem with that, can they come talk to you about it?
Oh, wow. Okay. I think, okay, I were going to do that with
Mm.
coaching. And the quick
Okay.
answer is yes. But it's almost like you work with people individually.
You mean
You work with a
couple?
couple. I would work with, yeah, I would work with a couple as
Okay.
individuals and work on the challenges that they have to
Okay.
address individually. And each one will have different challenges. And I think also it does come down to this understanding and makeup of each person, because based on who we are, we have different ways of communicating. We have different expectations. We have different needs. So working on both of those individually
Mm-hmm.
and then bring that couple together after they do that work. Okay. So number one, like maybe I have an essential way of how I need to express myself. Maybe, for example, myself. Fundamentally, I learn and understand things through
Hmm.
emotions.
Shoot.
I have experienced things. I experience that stronger than maybe some people who are very intellectual,
See.
for example. I will understand that in level. I will help people understand what's going on with them emotionally at a very deep level. That's how I'm made up. So I communicate that way.
Yes.
Okay, emotionally. Yet there might be other people, they're more left-brained, they're more logical, they're more clear, they're more
Mm-hmm.
information and
Mm-hmm.
facts and to deal with all that. Okay. Well, if you have a couple like
Mm-hmm.
that, let's and they're dedicated, they're going to stay together. They have to learn how to lean into parts of their communicative style, their need style that is not that way,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to talk to that person who now has different needs. And likewise on the other end of on the other end of that spectrum. So it's the same way in relationships, it's the same way in business, it's the same way in corporations. Okay, we have to understand our makeup and how to talk to each other. And when we can do that effectively, when we can understand what that other person is and how
Mm-hmm.
to address them, how to speak them, meet them exactly where they are, then things can really function at a really at a much higher level. But what happens is usually, well, you know, oh my God, I like facts and information, and you're just giving me this emotion. I don't have time for that junk.
Yeah.
Okay. It's really, really hard to communicate. And by the way, my little doggy
That's
joined
so
us.
cute.
He jumps on my lap,
Oh.
you know. That's Nami. which is short for like
So
wave in
cute.
Japanese, which means
So what is it?
she's very cute.
Tsunami?
It means wave.
Nami.
Nami, which means wave in Japanese.
Oh, that's interesting.
So she's like she's like a 6-pound tsunami in the house.
I remember you have
So,
another one, right? Two
yeah, I have another dog. I
dog
have a mini
black.
pincher, and she's getting
Oh,
old. Yeah, Yuki.
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 I
Yeah, she's
see.
getting older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she sleeps a lot. So I think, in couples, number one, each individual is going to have their challenge. And their challenges in that relationship, their needs in that relationship, their alignment in that. So one, work with both of them
Mhm.
individually. And two, as they've done that work individually, bring the couple back together and then re-engage that relationship based on all that work. And the funny is that what happens is then when we let go of these things that no longer serve us, all of a sudden our perspective, our perceptions are very different, our conclusions are very different, and as well our synchronicities are very different. Then all of a sudden that likewise happens as a couple. When a couple can be really aligned together in their values, in their ideas, in their communication, in their complementary communication, how they can harmonize together can be even more powerful. Okay, so yes, I can work with that. In general, the focus of a lot of my coaching is really helping people make what we're talking about at the beginning. We help people making shifts of identity at very challenging points in
Yes.
their life. And it is something, usually I end up being the person that helps people when a lot of other things haven't worked.
Yeah, because we have different.
Or they've
Yeah,
worked.
we have different layer of, I guess, problem or trauma. In a way, like, the one I keep bringing out is my more coming from what I experienced, business, friendship, relationship, different layers, personal experience, different level of trauma issue experience. And so now I want to kind of take us a little bit to another dimension, if you don't mind. So last time when I do the session with you, I reviewed that so many times. And then in the session, you mentioned that you made me went into a trance state, and I can see that, by seeing the video, because I talk differently. It looks like I become a different person, in a way. I know it might sound a little bit, you know, crazy or ooh, but it's actually science backed that up, right? It's more like a different brain wave, brain conscious, right? Like when you're in a trance, you're in a different brain wave, right? You want to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Well, okay, if we just talk about brainwaves, so
Trance
trance would be associated more with the theta waves.
data. Yes.
Okay. So all the time we have conscious expression and
Yes.
unconscious. Okay. And, to kind of back it up, the original, one of the fathers of psychology, Carl Jung stated, is to make the unconscious conscious.
Yes.
When we bring the unconscious to the
Right.
surface, we actually get to a deeper meaning. Like sometimes just hypothetical example. Oh, I want to make 100K in my business. Just example. And I'm not making it. That's my problem. But there's a deeper problem. That's just what presents
Right.
consciously. Unconsciously, there might be a whole bunch of stuff underneath that
Okay.
that's keeping that from occurring. So in a way, what happens is it's kind of like we were talking about earlier. Unconsciously, we're a little bit locked into patterns of behavior, perception, and emotions, and so forth. Okay. When we get into the place of trance, and like when we did that little session together, what it really does is it frees these connections up and gives you choice. It brings choice back into your life. And when the unconscious mind does wonderfully, and the unconscious mind's incredibly powerful, it can figure out unconsciously, if you open that up and then free yourself from existing conclusions, existing behaviors, so on and so forth. Then when you go back into your life, your unconscious mind can actually rewire itself. And it's like this GPS is rewiring off of different conclusions and better ideas that work for you now. So it restores choice in your life. So when you're in a state of trance or theta or whatever you want to call it, it's opening these things up. And there's a good reason why it doesn't open those things up, because that's a place of high vulnerability. So it has to be in the place of a safe place, in a safe environment, done with somebody who's informed, and as well in a place where also this is genuinely what you desire.
Yes.
So the unconscious expression can be really beautiful, because the unconscious mind thinks abstractly. It thinks of in analogies, pictures, sound, almost like dreams. The unconscious mind doesn't distinguish between irreality and reality. Okay? When you free up these old connections, and you can make new ones, what happens is your mind now processes, as you go back into your regular life, your mind goes back and processes and makes new conclusions and new ideas. And so literally, it's kind of as if you went into your closet and you have a brand new wardrobe. All new clothing. And every day you're just kind of trying on new wardrobe combinations. Well, I like this, I don't like that. And that's really what the unconscious mind does. It kind of figures out what's going to work for you. And it's very natural and holistic. And you can even say in ways that you're connecting with your higher self or higher power. There's definitely an aspect. Okay, because the same way, it's like we have intuition, right? All of us have some aspect of intuition. It's not just woo-woo. In a way, intuition is the translator between your unconscious and conscious mind. It needs a translator, because they think in things. Our conscious mind is very direct, it's very deliberate, it's very concrete, it's very down to earth. Okay, unconscious mind is abstract, so it needs a translator. Well, the same thing happens with a sense of higher self. It will express itself in ways that are abstract. It needs intuition to translate it into things we bring into this regular world we exist in.
Yes. I remember on the show, I'm not sure if that's that same one or another one, but I remember I said, I feel there's an invisible force that, pushing me into certain ways.
Yeah.
And then I also mentioned that certain things I don't know, so I don't know, but I'm open to receive. And these two, like you mentioned, it kind of, if we put it in a neuroscience way, it must have rewired my brain into what I said there. You know what I mean? So it kind of changed slowly. Made me see the things different. And if you want to put it in a spiritual, it's like starting a spiritual awakening, and I start seeing experience and seeing synchronicities. You mentioned that as well. So that's, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit. Synchronicity, is that like a sign,
well,
or that's
Oh, it's a great topic. So could I maybe can we start out and say, how did you see or experience synchronicities?
Well, just give some very small example, like okay, so if I thought about a person, they might all of a sudden call. That's very, very simple for everybody. That happens to everybody, right? But then if we could go deeper level, like if that one time I was talking to one of the real estate agent that we work on a client together, and then I call her and tell her that I think we should follow up with this person. It's been a while, okay? And I was supposed to call that client, but I kind of just waited for a couple of days, and then that client called me on his own, and he never, he's a tough guy to sell, to be honest with you. That's why I think, oh, it clicked to me that this happens. And this is just one of more,
Mhm.
more sample examples. And of course, there's more like I see different things, or not just experience with other people, but within myself. If I, because what we think inside, only us know, right? If we don't talk about it, we don't share it outside with other people, then only we know. So when we thought about something, thoughts, right? Thought creates reality. So we thought about something, and something will just show up, or or I will start experience it. Yeah. So that's kind of more in a foundation way for me. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's it. First of all, it's a great example. Somebody you're thinking about, and all of a sudden they reach out and say,
Yeah.
call you, or they text or whatever. You know, that okay, fundamentally that all things, all life is
Mm.
interconnected.
Yes.
Okay, all life
Right.
is interconnected. And we like to think, oh, all our thoughts are private, but in a way, all our thoughts have inner vibration to them.
Yes. Okay.
So whatever, like if in the most simplistic gang, if I'm very angry about something, I go out into the world, and what am I transmitting? Or what am I it's even simpler, it's just resonance. What am I resonant? I'm
Yeah.
resonating anger. What am I gonna bring into my
Mm.
life? Angry people, or angry
Yes.
experiences, or angry things that will continue to
Mm-hmm.
make me angry. That's not what I want.
Yeah.
Also, there could be, and to use that example, oh, actually, maybe because I'm experiencing all this anger, there's something in me that I'm projecting out
Right.
on the universe that I need to resolve, but I'm ignoring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, synchronicities are amazing. And when we do this
Mm-hmm.
self-work, we we do the spiritual work, and we grow, you can say that, like, we use, oh wow, this person has good energy, I want to work with them.
Yes.
Or be somebody, maybe they don't say a lot, but their words carry
Mm-hmm.
so much. Okay? And it's because of this alignment or
Right.
congruence of who they are and what they want to be. I think also synchronicity set up things in business, like being in the
Mm-hmm.
right place, the right time, with the right person, right thing, and something good
Yes.
comes out of it. And you want to say, "Oh, I'm so lucky." Well, okay, yeah, we can appreciate and have gratitude for the luck, as it were. And realistically, if you look at the luck, it, number one, that could be just how that person is, but also it could be how that person has
Yeah.
grown into that
Right.
and manifesting. Like, I'll give you an example of synchronicity. I met and worked with an entrepreneur here in Phoenix, and
Okay.
he's awesome. He's just he's truly the archetype of an entrepreneur. That's what he's meant to do. And what I really learned, and I think it's something for all of us to learn, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
synchronicity, he, you know, he will always project
Oh,
abundance.
yes.
So it's not the opposite of abundance is exclusion. Like, well, we get this, but so if I'm going to work with somebody, it comes from a place of abundance, not
Mm-hmm.
exclusion. In the old way of thinking, we kind of like, oh, the pie is only
Yeah.
so big, and we're going to fight over the pieces, rather than we grow.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do business with people, number one, business is a
Yeah.
thing of service. Business is a thing of
Yep.
connection, and we don't have to come from
Mm-hmm.
scarcity. And so if we come from that place of abundance, we create circumstances in our life that make synchronicities of abundance. And so, in a weird way, there's this whole thing about, was it the law of attraction and all that? But in another way, it's kind of like universe or a world or environment gives us exactly where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Very true. Yeah. You
It-
also mentioned,
It's on
Huh?
target. Yeah, go
Because
ahead.
one part that you mentioned is we all connect, and as you know, because we're, I share with you, sometimes I feel lonely these days, and and someone, another girl which told me years ago, before I get into all this, she said, you're not alone, we're all connected. I didn't get it at the time. So I was like, huh, what do you mean?
Mhm.
Are you talking about social media? No, you know.
Mm,
So yeah,
mm.
and yeah. So
No.
now I understand. We're kind of all, yeah. We do all connect, and everything is everywhere. I kind of know. So another part I want to touch upon is meditation and breath work,
Okay.
because in my journey,
Okay.
I experienced your session, and I also at that around that same time, because after my mom passed, I also went to a more like I'm not sure how should I call him. He teach me like breath work. He yeah,
Oh,
but
breathwork's
it's
phenomenal.
all by accident, like you said. It just came into my life at a time. Your session and their session, and merged together. I didn't even know, I, what I experienced will make me this way. You know what I mean? So, what are your thought? What are your thought on meditation and breathwork into all these pieces that we're talking about?
Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
do breath work. I do breath work, and it's phenomenal. Okay. There's some techniques in breath work done together with coaching that will completely disconnect the conscious mind. So in a weird way, it's almost like meditation. It's like a very active
Yes.
meditation. Okay. And done in the right container, it will bring up that stuff you need to address.
Mm-hmm.
If you have sadness, if you have grief, if you have healing, it can bring it to the surface, so it can be addressed, healed, changed, transmuted, whatever you want to say. There's other forms of different types of breath work that can be used for inspiration, for going forward, or for almost even programming new thoughts and new ideas, or even spiritually connecting.
Okay.
Okay. So it's weird. Breath work itself is a very active
Mm-hmm.
thing, but it connects to our nervous system and it regulates our nervous system. So then our nervous system is going to, based on what breathwork techniques are going to do through the vagus nerve, which everybody talks about nowadays, your nervous system now will resonate at a different place based on the technique
Mm-hmm.
done. So I think especially breathwork there are times when it's really hard to connect with the stuff that's making us suffer for whatever reason, or the stuff that's holding us back. And breathwork is really amazing and healthy to bring that to
Mm-hmm.
the forefront. Also, I've done breathwork with one of my mentors in breathwork is that I did the breath work, which was more on this, kind of the higher self side of the breath work. And I came away with totally different visions about what I wanted to do in
Right.
my business.
Yes.
Originally I was seeing as a coach that my business would just be like, kind of following the model of a therapist. And then I came back with a vision of no, it's in impactful entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're
Right.
similar. One thing about breath work, doing breath work is very physical. It's almost like doing a workout.
Yes.
It's almost like you
Yes.
went
You
to the gym.
breathe in, breathe out.
So
Yes.
you can't, yes, you can't, you know, unlike meditation, you know, it has to be done judiciously and with somebody who knows how to do that for you. Second, I think as well, I would see the meditation and the breath work being complementary practices,
Mm.
and one influences the other. There may be some people, it is very hard for them to meditate
Oh, well, is it because?
because they might have a very, very
Mm.
active mind, or they might have a mind
Oh,
that
sorry.
just might be thinking so linear, so left brain, as it were, that, you know, doing meditation is going to be torture for them.
Oh, they cannot sit still. right?
There are some people that the breath work can actually help them connect with that deeper unconscious part in a
Okay.
way that is more attuned to them in the way their mind and body work.
Okay.
So I think they're all
Yeah.
connected. I have found breath work to be extremely
Same here.
helpful. And it's complementary to these things. I think the important thing, what I've been fortunate enough to learn is like complementing the breath work with intentional coaching. Like, oh, I'm going to do breath work because I have this
Right.
block. Like maybe the block, for example, maybe the block is I'm lonely. I don't want to be lonely. Okay. There's a much bigger root
Right.
issue at hand, and maybe the breath work helps that come to the surface. And then when it comes to the surface, then that can be dealt with in a very effective way. Because when it comes to the surface, it expresses itself somatically through your body. And it's like every cell in our body stores information, stores emotion, experience. So the breath work actually really helps free that out.
That's nice. So I know you mentioned coaching, and I just want to also ask you so we can let the people watching or listening know, how does people book your coaching? Do they go on your website or?
Yeah, you can go on my website, which you can reach me through there, or you can reach me through social media on LinkedIn, TikTok. LinkedIn's probably the best way to reach me, and I have a book
Awesome.
right on LinkedIn.
And
easy. It's very easy.
Besides coaching, you also have other events, right? That you mentioned that you're going. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you mean that I'm going to or that I'm facilitating?
You mentioned about like a speaking event.
Oh yeah. I do speak. I'm working on a speech. I was asked and invited to be part of a TEDx talk.
When's that gonna be? September.
In September 6th, you'll be in. It's really exciting for me. It'll be in Italy, in Florence, Italy. So I'm working on preparing my 10-minute speech for this and practicing that. And in the speech, I cannot pitch my business or this or that, but I can talk in all the concepts. Like if we could have a shortened version of this conversation today, and I can teach it through analogy or creativity or just things that I went through in my life, yet condense that into a 10-minute.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think we both, especially us, we have tons of stories that we carry with us, right? We can share, offload, and yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we've all had a life experience for sure, and just as much as everybody in the audience, you've had good life experience too.
And thank you again for coming on here to share everything with us today. Do you have any last thoughts?
Oh no. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your podcast and all that it does, but also thank you for having me on the program. It is a privilege, but I feel like I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to everybody else out there.
And I all of a sudden I received some idea you want me to share right now with you on the show.
Sure.
Maybe one of those that we can do a short example of breathwork session on here. What do you think? That'll be interesting, huh? Yeah?
Sure. Okay. Let's go.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tawni.